Alright, welcome back to another fun-filled tutorial. I need to see if I can do something with my collection. Hey, how about that? I can do it. Okay, if you're wondering what I was checking, so I wasn't sure if I'd be able to select everything in here, like so. Actually, I don't want the pistons selected. I do not want those pistons. There we go. Yay! Control G, new collection, and this will be called Head Collection. Hit OK. The only reason why I did that, because I want to be able to turn off the visibility of the heads. I say heads, just the head. So that's the only reason why I want to do it. So what we do need to do is when you go ahead and create mesh, we're going to create a cube. I know I said I'd stop saying that, but you know what? It just sounds so gnarly to say. It makes me sound so manly. No, it doesn't sound good. No, it didn't. Alright, so we're actually going to set this up. So it looks like we got the height about correct. Obviously it's not dead on, but hey, it's whatever. So I'm going to set that right there. We're actually going to go into 1. And I'm going to press W on the keyboard. And then go into X-ray mode. Scale that down. Scale that back. There we go. So now we have our basic block in place. Yay. So we actually want to move the block down to about here. And then we're going to extrude out to about here. We need to widen this up. Or widen this out, I guess is the proper term. And then we're actually going to extrude again. We need to go to frame 90. Specifically 90. And we're going to widen this out just a little bit more. We're going to extrude again. I'm just going to bring this straight down. There we go. There. Alright, so Blender has a really, really cool tool. And I'm sure some of y'all are like, everything's cool about Blender. Yeah, well, you know what? Bear with me, guys. I can just delete this bottom face. And then I can do a solidify. Now, I'm not ready to do a solidify just yet. But I'm getting very close. So, the reason why I'm not ready to do a solidify just yet is because I actually want to take my pistons. There we go. I actually want to take my pistons. And I'm going to duplicate them. I'm going to scale the crap out of them. And then, is what I can do there is I can come in here, add modifier. I'm going to do a boolean. I'm actually going to add 4 of them. This will be the first piston. This will be the second piston. Third piston. Fourth piston. And then apply, 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 apply. So now I should be able to delete these. And looky there. Oh wait, it didn't do it because... Right. But that's okay, because it did kind of, it kind of did it. Not quite, but it did kind of do it. So, I forgot that I made the pistons hollow, which kind of screwed me up. But that is okay, so we're going to... I don't even know how many faces one of these pistons has. Oh, I figured it out. So we'll do the same thing. Duplicate. Scale the crap out of it. And then we're going to go into the side view. We'll press 1. We will go into X-ray. We'll select all of these little faces. I say faces, they're actually vertices. So the hollow, the center is still hollow, but by having this, it should if I can actually select the right thing. Wait a minute. I'm thinking here, guys. I'm actually going to select all of those, and I'm going to... What do I want to do? I don't know what I want to do. I actually just want to create this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it looks like it's going to be 24, but we'll make sure. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So it's just 20. Alright. No biggie. So we're going to delete those. We will go to Add Mesh Cylinder. Set this to 20. We'll go into the Z. We will turn on X-ray. We're going to move it. I'm just going to try and line it up as close as I can. So right here I will need a piston again, but this one is strictly for reference. So I can see that it looks like I got it centered. I just need to move this out just a little bit. Okay. So what I want to do is I actually want to select this. So everything about it is zeroed out. So I'm actually going to do the same with this, is zero all those out. I need to look at its scale. Its scale, oh, that's all zeroed out too. Oh, well this isn't. There we go. So now I can go ahead and get rid of that. And I can go to Shade Smooth, scale the crap out of this, and turn on snapping. Go into Top View, Control D, because this is one thing that we did do, is we snapped all of these in. And I'm sure now you can see the advantage to us doing that. And so now I need to go to the engine where it's maxed out at the top. So I'm going to bring this down to here. Well, I actually need to bring it down to about here. And all I'm going to do is now I will select the block, add modifier, boolean, 1, 2, 3, and this one will be, oops, this one will be that, this one will be that, because it's in camshaft position. This should just be in collection. Nope. So we have the, oh. Okay, that is why, because I had it set to the wrong thing. 1, 2, 3. Never said I was perfect, you guys. There we go. And we do have this where it's coming down through here. We'll deal with that in just a little bit. Probably should have made those cylinders a little bit wider. In fact, I think that's what we're going to do. Before we actually do this, we're going to make these just a little bit larger. So I actually need to come in here. There we go. And now we can come into the cube and hit apply on all of these. Then come in here and delete these. And so now we don't have that clipping, and we have a nice smooth cylinder bore. That actually looks really good. I'm actually really shocked at how good that looks. Alright, so, yeah, we do have this that's cutting through the engine. That in itself is going to be kind of a pain. And the reason why, because we need to set this up the same way that we have the pistons set up. So we're going to press 2 on the keyboard. We're going to select this bottom edge. Wait, these have faces? So we're going to select these faces. We will delete them because we do not need them. And also because they're going to screw us up. So what we need to do is we need to select all of these vertices. And we need to see the lowest point. That is honestly what we're looking for now, is the absolute lowest point. So if I look down here, this cylinder is going to be the lowest point. I'm going to slide this up. Right about there. I'll probably bring it up just a little bit more. Where are you at, Mr. Move Tool? There we go. Okay, awesome. I know we are still getting some clipping. That's because the offset of the crankshaft. Crankshafts don't generally have that offset, but if you watch part 2, I believe it was, I talk about why we have that offset and where I messed up. So, I can't be perfect all the time. Could I fix that mistake? Yes, but that's going to be for another time. Right now I'm more focused on trying to make sure that anyone watching this video, i.e. you'll be able to know exactly how to set all of this up without any kind of complications. There we go. Alright, so there's our basic block. So I told you in the previous video I'm going to show you how to do the proper cutting, and I am. So we have these edges. Actually, these edges are going... Yeah, actually, these edges are going to make my life a lot easier. So how do we do edges? Well, as I stated before, we need quads, or you can do triangles. Either way is fine. Right now, I am actually doing... I'm actually going to be doing quads. So that's 1, 2... and then this edge is 3. This edge right here, the purple one, is going to be 4. And all I'm trying to do whenever I'm doing this is I'll select one of these vertices, move over, wait till it snaps with that yellow look to it. That tells me it's locked onto that vertice. Then I'll wait till it snaps onto one of these, and boom. So what about this one, Jimmy? Well, that's a triangle. That is okay. Essentially, the game engine will convert quads into triangles, so I'm not too terribly concerned about something like that. So right here, all I am doing is doing the zigzag. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a quad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is not a quad. So I'll need to cut that face. Now that's a quad. So that's all I'm doing right here is I'm just creating quads out of these. Essentially, you could also just cut straight across like this. No shame in that. But I'm going to show you why I didn't do that in the previous section. Now this is a lot more neater topology wise. It is so much easier to work with. If you're doing like high resolution things, that one I screwed up on. But if you're doing high resolution things, this is the way you should be doing it. Game engines, this is the proper way to do it. Why is that? Well, the reason why, if we go into face mode, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Whereas right here starts with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. What's the difference? Difference is that this is generally how it's going to be calculated. Not always, but generally. And also, the other reason for me doing it like this is because it is... Oh, I screwed up. The other reason for me doing it like this is because it is generally, not always, but generally just a little bit faster. I screwed up on that one. Easy way to fix it. Boom. So you can do quads, you can do triangles. It does not matter which one you do. In my case, you can see that I'm doing both. No big deal. Biggest thing to remember is make sure that it is set up for one or the other. I really like it when I'm able to do that. Alright, so now we have final areas that we need to cut. That is really close, but that is okay. Put that one there. Put that one there. And that should be good. So the rest of this should be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, that's fine. There we go. It's a little chaotic, I will admit it. But for the most part, we can import this and we can be rest assured that we will not have any issues at all. Like I said, it is chaotic. I'm well aware. The other way that we could have done this is by simply, say, like selecting this edge, coming down here, and doing this. And we could use that to kind of like break everything off, but that would really increase the amount of faces. That's why I don't do it that way. So we are at, looks like 5,000 faces between everything. This object itself consists of 151 faces. That's not bad. That's really not bad. Oh, yes, I forgot about that. Okay, so the last thing. We may have some of this weird looks. We want to fix this. So I'm actually going to go into 2. I'm going to go into my edge mode. And just like I did before, I'm going to create one of these edge loops and drag it up as close to this as I can. And then I need to go here. I need to do the same thing. So I'm going to drag this up. I'm going to drag this up as well. So now when I press 4, we have this nice smooth cylinder lip. Now it looks like we do have a slight issue right here. Why am I saying oh? Oh, I don't know. But I do see an issue right here, so I'm actually going to... Yeah, I'm going to dissolve that edge. So I'm going to dissolve edge, press 1, select that vertice, press W. I'm just going to bring that straight up. That should fix that. There we go. Nice and clean all the way around. And that right there looks like a really good cylinder. Or not cylinder. Looks like a good block. So what about like I see all these weird shapes on the side of the blocks and everything like that, Jimmy. What about those? Okay, you make a good point. So those little deformations inside or on the side of the block, those do different things. They'll usually allow a good example would be like the oil reservoir passage for the oil. Another example, like the block inside the block is actually really hollow. It's kind of like this, but there's actually two sections inside of a block. It's not just one and that's it. So inside of a block, you have what is on the bottom of it specifically. You have what's called an oil pan, which does this. Not one size fits all, but bear with me. So the oil level kind of sits in here, and you have a dipstick that comes through the top, and it kind of like comes up like that. So right here where that little X is, where I kind of screwed up, that could be your fill level. The fill level could start on the bottom here where it has the cross hatches and come all the way up here to the absolute max. As long as it's within that range, that's fine. And the reason why it needs to be in that range because your pickup is actually right here. So if you ever start your car and pull at the dipstick, whenever the car is running, the oil is going to be way down here. And actually, I think the pickup actually comes down to about here. But yeah, if you're running it, you'll see that the oil level is like way down here. Why not just add extra oil, Jimmy? Well, because then you're submerging everything. It actually kills your power, and it can actually cause too much pressure and can start blowing out seals. Don't do that. So, you have your oil in one part. And the oil is usually like pretty well separated. So earlier we could see the camshaft, and we have the cylinder walls that came down inside. Well, believe it or not, the bottom part of the camshaft, or bottom part of the crankshaft, is actually separated along with these cylinders. So you have like this little separation like so going on inside of the block. So what's the rest of the space? Is it solid steel? No, that's actually where coolant goes. So the coolant goes through the block, and it also goes through the head. So it's just constantly being circled around. It comes in here, and it will leave out the top. And the way that works is through your water pump. So that's the cooling system and the lubrication system in a nutshell. I really do not want to add that much detail. But we can because we've already gone this far. So, this is where the solidify comes into place. So, with our blocks selected, we're going to make sure we're on the modifiers tab. We're going to click on add modifier. We're going to go to solidify. And we're actually going to change the thickness to 0.1. Yeah, that doesn't look too bad. So, we're getting some weird looks up here. But they still look fine. Why is it doing that, though? Well, the reason why it's doing that, let's go ahead and hit apply to this. The reason why it's doing that is because we actually have these flat objects right here, and the solidify, like, we just brought this down. So, we're not seeing anything right here, we're only seeing something down here. We can simply fix that by adding in some edge loops, like so, and doing that. Is this still going to be good for a video game? If it's just a section inside of its own scene where someone is building an engine, absolutely. We're not pushing it too hard where it's going to absolutely destroy someone's console or computer. Realistically, with everything in the scene, I think we're still only going to be at, let's see, we're at 704, so we're only going to be at like 21,000 faces. That's actually not that bad at all. So we got that done. And this is all for the oil reservoir. So what I want to do now is I actually want to press 3 on the keyboard. And honestly, I need to undo those last little tweaks. Okay, 2. And the reason why I need to undo these last little tweaks because we're actually going to select all of these faces. And we're going to delete them. What? Why? Because we need to emulate on here that this block also has cooling liquid that's going through it. If I were to look up a block, you could actually see exactly what I am talking about. Well, I could look up a block, but I'll do that here in a second. But generally speaking, there are these ports inside the block that allows water to pass through it. And that's actually what cools the engine down. So, kind of cool. Jimmy, how do you know this stuff? The reason why I know this stuff is because I was actually a shop foreman for an X amount of years. I've worked a lot in the automotive industry, so I'm actually very, very familiar with engines. Specifically engines, rear ends, transmissions, and a few of the other things. I've basically done everything to a vehicle. So with those selected, I'm actually going to come in here. I'm going to type in I'm going to type in inline 4 block. And we're going to look at, I guess we're just going to look at engine. Okay, here's actually a really good example. So this little space between, no, that's a bad example. I thought maybe, nope. If I don't find something soon, I'm just going to look for an engine that's... Okay, I'm going to look for one that's cut in half. I mean, I'm seeing some of them that are kind of close to what I'm looking for. But basically, you can see the bottom of this one. This is where all the oil is. These little things, these little weird U-shaped things, those are your main bearings. That's actually what holds the crankshaft. Now this one's a V4, which are fairly uncommon. But this right here, these are called your main caps. These hold your crankshaft, which is right here where my mouse cursor's at. Right here. This section would go right here, over here. And then this section right here would go over here. Actually, I'll probably have that backwards. Hard to tell. But that's basically how it's set up. So if we go and look at some of these images, well, you know, these people cut them in half, but that's not quite what I'm talking about. Screw it. So I'm trying to find like the perfect image, and that image does not seem to exist. But just humor me and assume that I know what I'm talking about. So we're going to delete the faces. We're going to press 2. Going to select these edge loops. And honestly, we really don't need this much detail. So the more and more I think about it, more and more obnoxious it seems and just really unnecessary. So we're actually not going to add that kind of detail. We'll just do like we did before, because I actually kind of like the way this looks. It looks really unique. Is it accurate? Not 100%, but it still gives a general idea of what someone's looking at. And 90% of the population, they're just going to look at it and be like, oh, okay. And then they'll hook up a water hose, or the radiator hose specifically, and they'll be like, okay, well, that goes here. And they're not going to think anything of it. So, accurate? Not 100%. Is it, like, a reasonable setup for what someone would expect to see in there? Absolutely. But, yeah. That is the bottom of a block. Or that's the lower half of an engine. And so now all we need to do is just basically turn on our head collection. And that is our engine right there. So, I mean, it's looking really good. I like that little seam that we have. That actually looks really, really good. Probably need to fix that though. But yeah, so that's where we're going to leave off in this video. Hoping you guys are also learning something about vehicles at the same time while we're doing this. So the next step is we're going to... Actually, I think I'm going to go ahead and do the inset for the spark plugs. I don't know yet. But that's going to do it for this tutorial, so I shall talk to y'all later.